Peace and greetings to all. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Rennie Hudson. I'm also known in New York and on the Eastern Coast as Born Magnetic. A lot of my friends call me Born for short, and people who know me for a long time more affectionately just call me Mag. In any event, I've been in this hobby for a little over 50 years now. When I first got into this hobby, it was for the love of the game. I was in love with baseball, America's pastime. My dad was one of the biggest Yankee fans in the world, as far as I know. And he used to take us to all the Yankee games. We used to go to Bat Day, Glove Day, Picture Day, and all the other days that they had like that. And I recall growing up, he taught us how to play baseball. We played Little League, we played wiffle ball, we played stickball. We played all types of ball. And eventually I started collecting. When I started collecting, I was 10 years old. I started collecting in 1975, but I wasn't really collecting like on a scale where I was collecting sets and teams and things like that. I was just collecting cards of my favorite players. But as time evolved, the following year, by 1976, I became a full-time collector. So what you see right here today on this table is from 1976. I grew up a Yankee fan, but like I said, my dad was a huge Yankee fan. The whole family was Yankee fans. And after a while, I got tired of everything was Yankees, 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 And I decided to choose a team that was the Yankees' arch rival, the Boston Red Sox, a team in the same division. In any event, I liked the Red Sox because I watched the Red Sox play the Cincinnati Reds in the 1975 World Series. And when Carlton Fisk hit that world famous home run in Game 6 that sent it to Game 7, I became a Red Sox fan ever since. But anyway, so most of my collection will be about primarily Boston Red Sox players, because at the time when I became a collector, like I said, my love of the game, I had love for the team that I had, my favorite players on the team. So I had a lot of cards back then of iconic and legendary players that I still had that would have been a part of this collection and would hold a lot of value in today's market. But a lot of those cards I traded away to get some of the favorite players from my team. But I have no regrets because I'm glad with the collection that I got, that is still here. And another thing I want to share with y'all is that I haven't been collecting for the whole 50 years. There was a time in my life where a large void is missing. In fact, I spent 2/3 of my life incarcerated, and my last term of incarceration was for 27 years. But prior to that, and it was for a gun charge. I blew trial. I was a violent felony offender. They sentenced me to 15 life. I wound up doing 27 years in New York. Was on life parole, got off life parole, turned my life around, and I'm no longer on parole, no longer owe anything to anybody, and I'm living my life to the best of my ability, and it's about enjoying life now. In any event, so I started collecting before I did all this time, and even though I wasn't able to collect during the 80s and the 90s and even the 2000s, I didn't come home to 2017. But because of the fact that I was a collector, and my brother, who I lost, my brother K-Son, and some of you who are familiar with me, because I already got stuff on YouTube. It ain't about card collecting. I got a documentary that I'm doing about my brothers called A Powerful K-Son Story. It's from hip hop, preserving the culture. Those are the ones who produced it for me. And that's on YouTube. But in any event, in order for me to tell my brother's story, I had to share a little bit of my story. But in that story, it speaks about me being incarcerated and things like that, and the time I did and things like that. But I'm here today to speak about sports card. I'm not here to speak about that. But I just want to share that aspect of it with you, because the time that I was gone, my little brother and my nephews continued collecting, because they seen that me and my brother were collecting the cards since we were young. So they followed in our footsteps. So they started collecting. So even though I was gone for the 80s, 90s, and most of the 2000s, my collection is still extensive because they was collecting. So what they collected is now a part of my collection, because when I came home, they gave me all the cards. And another blessing that happened was, after I came home from that long term of incarceration, when I came home in 2017, I was looking for pictures of lost loved ones, looking for pictures of my mother, looking for pictures of my brother. And in my search and pursuit of these pictures of them, I found my old card collection. And it just brought back crazy childhood memories, of when I was a child. And not only did I collect, we used to play cards, we used to flip cards, we used to gamble cards and all that back then. So some of my cards ain't even in the best of condition, because back then we used to play for cards, and like how you play Uno. based on how the colors match. We used to play, and if I get the matching color, I take the whole pile. You get the matching color, you take the whole pile. We used to play cards like that. We used to flip cards. Whoever get the cards closest to the wall wins when you flip a card. So we had all type of games like that we used to play back then. So some of my cards from this collection are a little bit tattered, are a little bit beat up, but for the most part, they're well preserved, considering that it's been 50 years from 1976 now to 2026. It's been 50 years. So you're looking at vintage stuff here. These yearbooks is in pretty much pristine condition, considering they're 50 years old. Some of these pages haven't been turned in decades, and everything is still there. This one, I gotta admit, I made a scrapbook back in the day, so there's some pages missing from it, but for the most part, it's intact. And the missing pages may still even be in there, some of them, for the most part. And then I have the 1976, but this was the year the Cincinnati Reds won the World Series, when they beat the Boston Red Sox. So I got their yearbook too, but this was the year after they won the 1975 World Series against the Boston Red Sox. And then but all this stuff's from 1976. These cards here are from 1976. See here, you got the stolen base leaders, home run leaders, the leading firemen, American League, National League. And I start off with the Boston Red Sox. Like I said, that was my favorite team. And all the best players back then I have, pretty much. Jim Rice, Fred Lynn. Fred Lynn won MVP and Rookie of the Year. He was the first person to win MVP and Rookie of the Year in the same season. He won that in 1975. That's Fred Lynn. That's Jim Rice. Dwight Evans, Corey Shrimpsey, Carlton Fisk, Cecil Cooper, Louis Tiant. The list goes on and on. Pretty much most of the best players that was on the team are there. And then from the Boston Red Sox, I went to the Cincinnati Reds because they won the World Series. And these are the two teams that faced off against each other in the World Series in 1975. I don't have everybody here. I don't got Pete Rose here. I'm not sure that I even got Joe Morgan there. But Tony Perez is there, Dave Concepcion, Ken Griffey. A lot of other ones are there. There's a few that's missing. Like I said, I traded a lot of cards to get some of the cards that I wanted, the players that I wanted for my favorite team. I got the Dodgers here. There's teams that didn't even exist back then, like the Toronto Blue Jays, for example, the Miami Marlins, that used to be the Florida Marlins, the Tampa Bay Rays, which used to be the Tampa Bay. These teams didn't even exist back then. These are new franchises that came into existence ever since then. Back then they had the Montreal Expos, but so I got vintage cards here, and I also got Hall of Fame players here. Example, Dave Parker, Willie Stargell. This is just the Pittsburgh Pirates team, But all the best players from that era, pretty much. There's a few missing. Rod Carew, one of my favorite players of all time, but so many are here. But anyway, and I have this is a Willie Randolph autographed mini picture from 1976, his rookie season. And this was meaningful to me because Willie Randolph is from Canarsie. And I grew up in Canarsie, Brookline Projects. So, he's from that area. He played ball there, 5 Diamonds and all that. So it was a big deal for me to have something from Willie. And I was a Yankee fan, at one time. And, it means something to me anyway because I'm from New York. In any event, so one of the things that I want to share with you now about my being in the hobby for 50 years and what I've learned, because I've gotten back into the hobby since I've been home. And it's been a complete re-education for me. Times are completely different now from what they were back then in many ways, but also in the hobby as well. And back when I was collecting back then, you didn't get autographed cards, numbered cards. Those things didn't really exist back then. Now you have all that. You see what the cards looked like then. I'm going to give you a small little brief preview of what they look like now. I'm not going to show you everything, but I'm just going to show you a little bit from baseball, football, and basketball, just so you can see how things have changed since then until now. This might be a 2025 set from last year, whatever, but I just want y'all to see more or less how they look now. All these checkerboards and ray waves and everything else you can imagine. They got emerald and sapphire and all these different kinds of, this is just baseball. And this is primarily one set. I just want y'all to see how things have changed since then until now. But I'm not, like I said, I'm not going to show you the whole thing. This is just a little something to show you how, this is mostly all chrome, Topps chrome right here. But I got all types of prisms and not just Topps, most of the major leading brands to put sports cards out. I pretty much got all there. All right, quick. This is what Topps football looked like. These just came out this year, earlier this year. This is what Topps football is looking like. And from what I've heard, because I watch stuff on YouTube, and I like to give a shout out to all the other people that's helping the hobby, like Jeff Wilson, Jabs from Jabs Family. I can't name everybody, but most of y'all, I watch y'all videos. I learned a lot from y'all videos. And it's helped me since I re-entered back into the hobby. But I learned that Topps has the licensing for autographs and stuff. I'm not Topps. Yeah, Topps. So anyway, so they recently got the rights to licensing in football. So I've been collecting Topps football. But I have other football besides Topps football. This is just real quick, some Don Russ stuff. There's some select stuff in here too, I'm sure. Yeah, see, there goes the select stuff. But this is now, it's completely different now. The game has changed, but this is what football is looking like. This is just one set or one series of select, but you also can see Optic and some of the other ones that are out. And the last I'll show you is basketball. It's just a quick little baseball, football, basketball. All right, so last but not least is basketball. Anyway, in the past few years, I got back into the hobby, and pretty much all the best players from the last few years in baseball, football, and basketball, you can trust and believe I pretty much have their card or their rookie card. If they have autograph or number card, I have some. I don't have all, but I have a lot. I have a lot, you know. So it's this type of stuff that's popping now. White Hot Rookies, Express, you know, Rookie Revolution, so many different, so many emergent, winner stays, all these different titles. I'm gonna get more into other stuff like kabooms and downtowns and uptowns and other things that collectors are collecting now, because the hobby is changing. But one of the reasons I wanted to make this video too, I'm not trying to show off my collection or show off that I'm back to the hobby and I got some nice things, you know. I'm blessed to have that and I'm grateful for that. But I also want to really get into this hobby more than anything. My boy Jalen Brunson, the Knicks won a championship this year. That's the only New York team I'm still with. I'm a Boston Red Sox fan, New England Patriots fan. My only still New York team is the New York Knicks, but I'm happy now because I got to live to see all three of my teams win championships. The Knicks ain't won none since 1973, and then this year they finally won one. So at least I lived to see all three of my favorite teams win championships. So now what I wanted to share with you is how the hobby has changed dramatically. I spoke about them not having no autographed cards or numbered cards and all that when I was at the time when I was collecting, when I first started collecting. Now they got all these things. Here's a card, for example, supposedly a graded card I bought of Shohei Ohtani. Y'all know who he is, the Japanese guy, $700 million man. He's trending right now. Everything is up with him. His market is up. This is supposed to be an autographed rookie card numbered to 25 that I bought. Check this out though, gentlemen. This is how much the hobby has changed. This ain't even a card. It's a piece of paper. You see that? You guys see that? This is not even a real card. If it's in the case, you would never know that, right? Because now, these days, what they have, they got computers. The same way they can make counterfeit money, they're making counterfeit cards. They got knockoff cards. So you got to be careful. Try to buy, if you don't buy cards yourself out the box, try to buy graded cards and buy them that's graded by PSA, Beckett, SGC, or CGC, some of the best grading companies, if you want to get real authentic cards. Because I bought this card online and it was a dummy, it was a fake, you know. And there's other cards I bought that was fake too. I learned the hobby. Like I said, I got back into the hobby, so I've been, you know, into the hobby now the last few years, and I learned, you know, it's a dirty game now. People, they got fake everything, you know what I'm saying? So, you know what you're dealing with. I'm gonna have more videos teaching you more about this, because I can tell you many other ways how I found out about fake cards too, you know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna make a video ripping up and tearing up all these fake cards so that nobody else could be sold them or nobody else could get, you know, taken advantage of, you know, by something that they think is real, you know. So in the future, I'm gonna have much more videos coming out pertaining to the hobby, but I just wanted to share that with y'all for now. Thank y'all, I appreciate your time, and peace.